We're back with Talking Tickets, and we're going through the top 100 iconic tickets. And tonight, it's a review of tickets number 60 through 41. Guys, what's going on?
Mike, Howard.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Oh, we got the Godfathers in the house. The top 100 Godfathers back.
Yeah.
You ready to let's just jump right into it.
Let's go.
All right, number 60. There it is. Gehrig. Ripken passes Gehrig at 21-31.
What do you think, Howard?
Way too low. Way too low. For me, as a guy growing up, first of all, here's mine. And I have a signed one. For me, growing up, Cal Ripken was everything. I loved Cal. That streak, in my opinion, along with the McGuire Sosa home run chase, saved baseball. So I think it's a great ticket to a great event. I like the fact that it's easy to obtain, not expensive. Cal signs these tickets. He signs them great. Absolutely something that I think every ticket collector should have as a part of their collection. Used to be like a $10 ticket, Sean, yeah? And now it's like $150 ticket if you find one, the season ticket version.
What, where did you have it?
23.
23. Wow. See, I don't disagree with you. I had a number 40, and I agree that it's as iconic as they come as far as the visual of the ticket, and it has the stamp on it that, you know, they stamped them instead of tore them, and that's a really cool feature. And, you know, the event, of course, was one of the most iconic in that era. But what kind of pushes it up for me is just the fact that there's so many of them, and it's such a common ticket. So it's kind of lost my interest.
Yeah, I had it at 22. I think even though it's super common, kind of like that Kobe last game, it's just kind of, I mean, it's Cal 21-31. I think it's a kind of a must own, even though it's super common for a collector. But yeah, I think it's a 60, which I would have seen it higher, but man, that moment was huge. I kind of brought part of it that brought baseball back to after the ridiculous home run fiasco with McGuire and Sosa, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
On that one there, you know, it's all fulls, 148 fulls, unsigned 59 fulls, total of 207 graded.
Yeah.
Number 59. This is a cool one. Ali versus Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle. And this is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. This is a super, a very rare ticket. I think I'm only showing 10 total on this one.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I think so. I put this at 43, and I probably would have put it higher had I knew more about it. But of course, like we've talked about before, reading about it, finding out the history behind it, realizing how rare it is actually as a ticket, that's kind of changed how I view it. If we were to do this over again, I would have it higher, but I had it at 43 on this one.
It's a shame for me. I must have goofed here because this absolutely should have been on my list, and it wasn't. And I'm an Ali fan, and I'm a Ali historian, and I guess I just didn't put it on my list when I made the list.
Howard.
Yeah, I know.
I had it at number 10. I don't know if I was skewed because of I actually own one. I'll go ahead and pull it up. This is the one. I bought this on some random auction site. I can't even remember, so many years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a lot. Ali has so many great tickets, so many huge events, and this was just another one. And if you're a boxing collector, just a sports collector, I feel like, man, Ali, there's just so many of those up there, and we'll run into more as the list goes on. Yeah, like I said, 8 stubs, only 2 fulls.
Wow.
58, the greatest game ever played, the 58 NFL championship.
So this one I had at 79. I'm aware of the game and everything, but researching it, I couldn't really figure out why this was so great. Do you know, Howard? Can you educate me on this?
I don't. I really can't. Other than my understanding is that it really truly was just an amazing game between top teams back at that time. But I had it at 68. I have one. I have a stub. I mean, it's not great.
Let me get that, because stubs are really common, but yeah, the fulls are very, very, very rare.
Mine's a 6, so it's
the story on this game is it was one of those nationally televised games that kind of brought the NFL into the mainstream. Before it was baseball, and college football, but this was like the first true classic, iconic NFL game that everybody was talking about the next day. That kind of put NFL on the map.
Yeah.
But yeah, this ticket's super cool. The stubs are all over the place. There's 48 stubs, which is basically what Howard showed you, that top part. And there's only 2 fulls. And then the full is just so much better than the stub. So it kind of gives you an idea of just the rarity of the actual full ticket shown there.
I would say this just on one quick point here, and I know we're trying to move through these, but I believe that's a ticket in 10 years that doesn't make the list.
Really? It's iconic. Well,
so I don't disagree with Howard on that one. It's when you read about the game, there was nothing spectacular. It was a good game. It sounded like a good game, but I've watched lots of NFL games that are just way better than they won on a field goal at the last second or something like that. I didn't see it. I've seen NFL. I've seen Super Bowls that are better games than this.
Agree to disagree. I had it at 50, so I was kind of right in the ballpark. 57. Ooh, Nolan debut. Now this is a debut that I actually own. I got it in a trade we talked about a while back, and actually it's autoed. And me kind of just show the one I have, which I've been wanting these for a while. I'm not a huge debut collector, but I mean, it was his first K. It's Nolan. I think it's a cool ticket. But yeah, all those things, it's super rare. There's only 8 total. There's 1 full and 7 stubs.
Yeah. It gets to the argument over, debuts being rare and nobody having known the significance of it when it occurred, that Nolan Ryan, who would strike out more than anybody in history, had his first strikeout in that game and his first game, and go on to play 27 years. So I think, let's see, I had it at number 66, so a little bit higher because I didn't weight debuts really heavily on this. This is my copy. I don't know if you can see it, but
is that the highest graded, Sean?
This is the highest grade. It's the highest grade. It's a PSA 6. Mike, can you switch it to me so I can show off my PSA 6? He's just jealous because his is 6. There it is.
Well, I don't own one. I like the ticket. It's awesome. It did not make my list. And quite candidly, it's just still part of my mentality when I put the list together of, if I put Nolan Ryan's debut, how do I not put Sandy Koufax's debut and Whitey Ford's debut and Bob Gibson's debut? And so.
Yeah, that was, I agree with you, Howard, on that. That was a debate that I had internally too, where, once you go down that rabbit hole of debuts, then there's a lot of guys that you have to add to it. So it comes down to the ones that are most notable in terms of sales and, kind of desirability, I guess. I don't know, but it was hard to differentiate between those. I agree.
Yeah, I had it at 36. And actually the Ali one, I thought that was high on my 10. I had the Ali Rumble one at 32. So yeah, I think a lot of times with debuts, it comes to kind of just what people they love about the player, the game, the event, the ticket. And this is just one of those. 56 is I love this one. The band is out on the field. Cal, Stanford.
Howard?
Great. I had this at 16.
Wow.
Dang, Howard.
Yeah. It's a greatest, nice. One of the greatest moments in college sports history. I mean, I can listen to the guy do the play-by-play all day long. I mean, it's just amazing. So it's great.
Yeah, it's also a very recognizable ticket too. I have a copy also. Mine, unfortunately, the seating assignment is almost completely worn off, which is a common feature on those. So it's harder to find one like Howard's where you can actually read the seating assignment easily. But yeah, it's a tough ticket. It's become a lot more popular in the last couple of years too. I don't know if you've noticed that. I think the one that I bought, I got this for less, maybe like $80 on eBay years ago, and now they go for close to $1,000. I think. Just
I have one too. I had it ranked at 41. There are 23 stubs and 3 fulls. So not super rare, but not like they're everywhere. But you have seen them a lot more pop up and definitely become more popular.
Yeah. Also John Elway's last college game.
That's a fun fact.
Good.
Number 55. Oh, Rudy.
This is, I'll be honest with you guys, this is not one that I'm in love with. I think that it gets a little bit too much hype. I had it at 54, which is kind of like right in where it ended up. But this is one of those tickets that I think that Darren Ravel had a pretty big influence on bringing it to people's attention. And, that may be a good thing. Who knows? But it's not really something that interests me a lot. Here's my comment for this. If you're one of these guys like Ravel who feels like the game should have historical significance, then this game, what happened at this game was a deep reserve got into the game. That's it.
Right. It's all about the movie.
Well, obviously the movie, but take the movie out of it, and it's just people at the game. All they saw was a deep reserve get into the game and make a tackle.
Right. We're probably very confused, and then went home and it's like, oh yeah, Notre Dame beat them pretty good.
Had no clue what they were seeing for years and years and years.
This is actually one of the first tickets I bought. As I'm a Notre Dame family lives in Mishawaka, South Bend. So I have a special place in my heart for this ticket. I had it ranked at 38. They're basically 31 tickets, 26 stubs, 5 fulls. I think it's really cool. I think it's a cool looking ticket with the ND, the colors. So I'm a big fan of it, even though it has kind of gotten a little crazy in the last year or two, but I'm a supporter. But it's a cool ticket. Moving along, maybe we'll get Howard back on. Hopefully he's all right. Number 54. The Jordan game-winning shot. And this one's the blue, which is actually pretty rare. I didn't break down the colors. This is another one. You've seen a lot of these pop up. Jordan, this event probably had 50, 60,000 plus. Louisiana Superdome, New Orleans. One of the first ones I bought also. It's kind of a must-have, I think, if you're a Jordan collector.
Yeah, I don't have this one, but I did rank it higher. I had it at 38. I think that, just it's kind of the ticket or the game that put Michael Jordan on the map and ushered in the Jordan era of sports. So it has huge significance, and it's a good looking ticket with a couple of variations.
Yeah, I had it number 33. Like I said, a lot of these tickets, 72 stubs, 74 fulls, which kind of surprised me, that many fulls. Total of 157.
Interesting.
53. This has a very, very special place in my heart. I'm actually one of the few owners of one of these. The population is technically 3, but I think it's only 2 there. I think it's a different version. Especially with the time of year it is, it's going to get a lot more press. 50-year anniversary. Here's my version, which is actually a different color. And another monster collector owns the other one that's known.
That one.
If you're not a horse racing person, you probably have no idea what. You don't. I think appreciate it. But for me, it was like kind of a holy grail. ticket, even though it's technically wasn't good for admission, but basically got you a seat in the event. You probably pay like whatever, $5 to get in.
Yeah.
This got you a reserved seat.
I think that there's a couple of reasons why this was so low. One was the reason why I didn't even have it on my list, and that's that I'm not a horse racing fan, and I don't pay attention to that at all. So I didn't even have this on my list. But if you ask Darren Ravel, I think he had it in his top 2 or 3 because, that's it. The historical significance of this event was just huge. I think that reading about it, this is another one where now I understand the significance of it, that I would definitely have it on my list. The only other problem is that it is so rare that you don't ever see it. And so then can it be considered iconic? And that whole debate, which Howard's back. So maybe Howard, you can chime in.
I don't know what happened there, guys. I really apologize. Everyone had internet in my family except me.
You got bounced.
Yeah, I got bounced. So my son, I think, is playing some crazy video games, so I got bounced. I didn't have this on my list. I'm not the biggest horse racing fan, and I know, Mike, you love it, but I don't, and I know Darren Ravel loves it, and I don't think it belongs on the list. So,
Howard.
So then, Howard, you would say that no horse racing on the list, then?
I mean, if you're going to put any of them on, I mean, maybe because it's the Kentucky Derby and it's Secretariat, and I know this completed the Triple Crown, and I know it was an amazing feat, but yeah, I probably would say no.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have it super high just because of the reasons you gave, Sean. I had it at 55, even though personally I think something I've been trying to find forever. But I mean, it is what it is. It's super rare. There's a lot of not horse, people who aren't horse racing fans. So I'll take it at 53.
Yeah.
But I know somebody like Darren will explode because it's at number 53.
Yeah.
Number 52. Another debuts. We start seeing a lot of debuts rolling through here now. And this is where we have those debates, right? Like, well, if you put this guy, where do you put this guy? Yeah. A lot of these debuts that aren't kind of out in the wild that you see often, I really didn't rank them in the top 100. And this is another one because it's so rare. But if you're a Sandy Koufax collector, I mean, how would you not want to own something like this?
Yeah, it gets down to the conversation of, is it iconic or is it just something you'd really want to have? And those are two different things in my view. And I actually own this. I have one.
Wait, I want to see it. Hold on. Let me get that. Gosh, Sean.
Yeah, it's got the tape across.
Yeah, just get rid of it. It has a tape. You don't want that.
But I agree. I didn't have it on my list. I didn't even put it on my list. I didn't think that it was for the exact same reasons that you gave. It's not iconic because it's so rare. Not that I wouldn't want to have it, obviously, and same, it's highly valuable and all of that. But is it iconic? Not in my opinion. But somehow it made it at 52. So there were a lot of people who viewed it differently.
I'm with you, Sean. It's a ticket I absolutely want to own. I was excited when I saw you trade for yours.
Yeah.
Just seeing it and touching it it's just such a cool ticket. But didn't make it on my list for the same reason Nolan Ryan's debut didn't make it on my list.
Yeah, super rare. Total of 5, no foals, and Sean owns one of them. 51. This, what? This ticket, when this list came out and I saw the ticket, I was like, this thing I did not rank high enough. I don't even think I had it ranked. But it's the Johnny Vandermeer second straight no-hitter, which is also, correct me if I'm wrong, first night game at Ebbets Field, and then you look at the ticket itself, like, is there a cooler, old school looking ticket than this?
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I actually used to own this one, and I traded it away for some really impressive debuts. But yeah, it's one that I kind of miss having. But I'm a debut collector, so
what'd you get for it, Sean?
I got the main thing was a Roy Campanella debut, and so that alone I thought was a fair trade.
Oh yeah. This was 85 on my list, but I mean, it's probably one of the coolest tickets I think I've ever seen.
It's one of those that if you ask old school kind of hardcore baseball collectors, this is in the top 5. It's such an important historic ticket to people like that. But if you ask more kind of newer, younger ticket collectors who just got in the last 5 years, then they might not have ever even heard of it or seen it before. But it is very significant to a significant population of ticket collectors. So I had it at 52 just for that reason. And obviously it's aesthetically amazing. And it has multiple historic events going on. And, it's a game. It's a record, 2 straight no hitters that will never be broken. I'm sure. So
you have one, Mike?
I don't. It'd be cool if I did. Very, very rare. 5 stubs. And I don't even know if technically there is a full version of this. I guess there probably is. That looks like there's a little rip off part on the bottom. But yeah, total of 5. So extremely, extremely rare. Number 50. Clemente. This is a cool one. Clemente 3000th hit. Any of you guys own this one?
It's another one that I used to own, but I traded it.
I have it.
Ooh, Howard, hold on. Let me get that. It's such a cool ticket.
That's a good copy. That's a good looking copy, Howard.
It's kind of funny because it's a 1.5, and the only reason it's a 1.5 is because it has like 2 little staple holes, but it's really nice. Like I saw somebody had one that didn't have staple holes recently, and it was graded a 2, and it had all this like paper loss on the back, and I was like, just PSA getting it wrong again in my opinion. But I think we've talked a little bit about the Clemente debut before. You guys have talked about it. I think you guys have beaten it up, but last hit 3,000 before he dies in a plane crash, and
it's one of those kind of milestone tickets that normally I'm not really into milestone tickets, but I think this one is the exception to that because of what you just said, the historic significance of it. And the attendance was pretty low at this game, which is kind of unusual. I don't know what the circumstances were. I mean, nowadays, if somebody's about to hit 3,000 hits, it's sold out. So I don't know why it would have been different at that time, especially since Pittsburgh was on their way to the playoffs that year. So
yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, so I mean, basically his last regular season game, correct? And then his last.
It wasn't his last regular season game. He actually played in another game, and I think he
okay.
played defense or something like that. He was put in as a defensive replacement, and then didn't bat. So I'm pretty sure it was his last at bat. But
last at bat. Okay.
Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong on that.
This was 89 on my list, so not super high.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I had it at 91. Basically, there are actually 33 of these with 1 full.
Yeah, I had it at 59.
Number 49, the 86 Olympics Black Power Salute. And in these political times, I think this is even more relevant, especially with the Kaepernick taking a knee incident. Thoughts?
What do you think, Howard? It's a great ticket. I don't own one. I actually ranked it at 26 on my list.
Wow, that's strong.
Because I just think it has such historical significance. And I like I said, I don't own one. I think 2 raw ones sold on eBay for really good prices, and I just blew it. I was not paying attention, and I missed them. But what's the pop on it, Mike?
It's only 9 graded. All stubs.
This is another one that after reading the background and the history on it and everything, I came to appreciate it a lot more than I had it. I had it at number 84 to begin with, but now I understand the significance of it a lot more clearly, and that it's quite rare. It's surprisingly, there might be a lot out in the wild that are raw, just people haven't discovered yet. So that population might go up as time goes on, but it's a pretty cool ticket. The size of it isn't my favorite. I don't really care for tickets that are so big that they take a special kind of holder, and this one is extremely large.
Yeah. Yep. Cool ticket. I'm sure it'll stand the test of time. Number 48. Lou Gehrig Memorial ticket. So basically in 41, they did during the game. I don't know the details of this, but is this when they did the plaque, or do you know more, Sean or Howard?
Yeah, okay. So this one, it's on July 4th, which was scheduled to be 2 years after he did the Luckiest Man speech. He passed away, and this was the memorial for him. The game was rained out, so I think they played it on July 6th, but obviously the ticket would have still gotten you to that game. But this is the significance of this, is that it kind of started the Monument Park at Yankee Stadium, and Monument Park is a big deal now. If you've ever been there, there's tons of players. I don't know how many, but dozens of players have been honored at Monument Park, and this was the first player. There had been two, I think, a manager and an executive prior to Lou Gehrig, but this was the first time that a player had a monument out in center field. So it started that, and that has some significance. I had this quite high. I think, I had it at number 17 because it's so recognizable, and it's just one of those tickets that if you put a collage of tickets together and you wanted it to be, recognizable, like that, you instantly know this is a ticket collection. This is one that should be in there, I think, just because Lou Gehrig's on it, and it's something that everybody has seen. On the other hand, it is quite common. There's a lot of them out there, and it's also one that's faked quite a bit too.
I had it at number 79. It's a great ticket. I think these tickets used to sell before ticket collecting became kind of mainstream for Sean, $50, $100. I mean, they're very common, and they were cheap. I'm not like Mike. I'll never have the actual Luckiest Man ticket. So this is the closest I will come, I think. So I have one. It's just a stub. It's not in great shape. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, it's sorry about that. It's yeah, I mean, it's very cool. I mean, it's a great ticket. It has, with his face, it's great. I've seen some fulls sell recently or been auctioned off recently, and I think they went for pretty significant sums.
Yeah, this is a ticket that would definitely stand out at a card show. People looking in your cases, and like you said, it's very there's quite a few of these. 189 total, 19 fulls, and this would be, I think, one if I wanted to buy, I would probably want to get a full just because there's so many stubs out there.
Yeah, it's also one of the games of Joe DiMaggio's hit streak too. I don't remember which game, but so that's kind of dual significance.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Number 47. Oh, more debuts. Magic Johnson debut. For me, this is like when we start getting a little carried away with debuts, and I kind of side with the people like, it's just a list of debuts and that's all it is, and things like that. This is a super rare one. Only have one graded full. That's it, one we're showing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a tough one to find. I've seen a few of them that are raw, but it's a tough ticket. And I agree with you, Mike. I feel exactly the same way. It's not, it's too rare. Not that Magic Johnson wasn't important, and not that Magic Johnson's debut wasn't important, but it's just not iconic because there's a lot of people who this was probably the first one they've ever seen.
Right.
Man, I'd love to own this, Mike. Boy, I know you would too.
Oh, I would too.
But I mean, even Magic's still, a top 5 player in my list of 5. It still doesn't belong on the top 100 list, in my opinion. I get the debut guys, and if you're a debut person and that's what your main focus is, and you could acquire one of these, well, you better acquire it because it's awesome. But so I don't think it belongs on the list.
None of us had it on our list.
No, actually you had it ranked. Well, I had it at 96, but so it barely cracked the top 100.
Yeah, I didn't put it on my list.
Yeah, not on mine.
Sorry, Magic. Number 46. This one is, I love this one. NCAA tournament, The Shot, Laettner. This is one of those events where I could just randomly pull it up on YouTube about once every 3 or 4 months just to watch it because it was so absolutely insane. I actually have one. I got it autoed, or Let me pull it up. This is mine, autoed Laettner. And the writing was actually on there, and then I just had to match it with the black. I think it looks better with the blue, but had the writing. But yeah, if you're a college basketball fan, this is maybe top moment in college basketball, pure moment in college basketball history, maybe.
It's close. It might be number one. I mean, look, hey, everyone knew who the ball was going to. He gets the ball, makes an amazing shot, and wins the game. I mean, and wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. For me, it gets down to historic event versus ticket. I think that this is as boring and ugly a ticket as you can find. It doesn't.
It's got the Duke blue though in it.
Well, yeah, I guess there's that, but the only version I think that's known as the Ticketmaster version. So
Yeah.
it's like, not a significant visual ticket, but historically the event was huge. I had a 93 for that reason, because I just don't believe that the ticket itself is iconic.
Oh, Sean.
The event, yes. The ticket, no.
I had
Mike, tell him, please.
29.
Yeah, I had it. I mean, mine was was 49, but it's 93. Come on, man.
There's 16 fulls. I'm sorry, 16 stubs, no fulls. So pretty rare. It's a pretty rare ticket. You see a lot more popping up because I think people are pulling them out of their, their dresser drawer and be like, oh my gosh, this is worth $1,000 or $2,000 plus.
I'm sure a lot of these were saved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 45. Super Bowl III, kind of a classic. Are you guys Super Bowl ticket collectors? Kind of thoughts on the Super Bowl tickets?
I'm not a Super Bowl ticket collector. I would love to have Super Bowl I just because of the significance of it, but the otherwise Super Bowls are kind of the most plentiful tickets out there because everybody knew to save them. Pretty much, obviously you can get into full tickets and those are a lot more rare and all of that, but this one significance obviously was that Joe Namath called his shot. he guaranteed victory in this game. So, and it was the first kind of where the AFC or the AFL, AFC, whatever, was won the Super Bowl, and nobody really gave them credit as being a league that was comparable with the NFL. So it definitely has some historic significance in that way. And I had it at 65.
It's the only Jets Super Bowl. It may be the only Jets Super Bowl in the history of Super Bowl. Sorry, Stu Hellman, but I had to say it. I have Super Bowl I, II, and III. I figured those are kind of the only ones I really want. And I have one from 52 when the Eagles won because I'm an Eagles fan. But I'm not a Super Bowl collector. I actually just got this back from a signing.
Oh, hold on. Ooh, that's nice. Got the white on that?
Yeah, the white.
Nice.
Very nice. That's very nice.
I don't know why it got a 9, but it did. But Joe charged $1,500 to sign that ticket.
Dang,
wow.
That's salty right there.
It was 71 on my list.
Yeah, I had it kind of lower, even though I really like it. I had it at 80. Just like Super Bowls we're talking about, very plentiful. A total of 279, 256 stubs, and 23 fulls. So definitely fulls are much, much, much rare. Moving along, number 44. Babe Ruth hits 3 home runs, the Johnny Sylvester game. Hey, the kid in the hospital said, I'll hit one for you. This kind of was off my radar before this list, but it's definitely very popular, especially among the baseball ticket community.
Yeah. Great story. Great stories behind this one that people who are Babe Ruth collectors and World Series collectors could go on and on about. So it definitely is significant. And like you, Mike, I knew that Babe Ruth actually hit 3 home runs in 2 different World Series games, and both of them are highly collectible. But this one is the more significant one because of the Johnny Sylvester angle. But yeah, I think that it's taken on a lot more popularity in recent years among the general public. What do you think, Howard?
Yeah, I agree. Number 35 on my list. The one that you have in that picture, Sean, is mine.
Is it?
I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you ask significant Ruth collectors, even ask Justin, I mean, he thinks it's a better ticket than the called shot ticket. I don't know that I agree with that because the called shot's got so much lore, but it's a heck of a moment. There's been movies made about it. It's a good one. It's a good one, and I think it's still pretty undervalued.
On this one, Pop Report is 59 stubs, 0 fulls.
Nice.
People attending those World Series, that's for sure. Number 43. When Wayne Gretzky pro debut. Now, for me, for some reason, there's something about this debut that I really love. I don't know, just because it's the goofy Indianapolis Racers, it's Gretzky, it's not some random road team, but it's not like an Edmonton Oilers, and it's insanely rare. I don't know why. I really like this debut. I don't. What do you guys think of this?
Yeah, I agree. I actually had this high on my list for a debut, 28, and it's an extremely rare one, of course. But I think that probably 2018, I want to say, one sold for or it might have been 2019, but it was before the whole bubble with tickets, and one sold for $40,000.
Wow.
And I had no idea what it was, but then reading up on it and finding out that, he actually played professionally prior to the NHL, but then the two leagues merged. So it was kind of like his real debut. I thought, yeah, that has some real significance. And that sale kind of, was in the top 2 or 3 of all time at the time. Maybe it might've been number 1 for a brief time, that sale, but it definitely became significant on my radar. So yeah, I had it pretty high, 28. What about you, Howard?
I didn't have it ranked just because it was his pro debut, and I think I have his NHL debut on my list. What do you guys think about that? The NHL debut versus the Racers debut?
See, I'm a Racers debut guy.
I'm a Racers. I think it's just so unique and just random. Racers, and it's number 1, and it's Wayne Gretzky finally going pro, and all the hype around him since he was, like 10 years old.
Yeah, and he was 17 there, I think. But to your point, Howard, it's tough because I don't think the NHL recognizes the stats, so goals he scored or whatever don't count. But the leagues merged, so it's kind of like, AFL, NFL, ABA, NBA, the leagues merged. And so players who were already playing in the previous league, that's where their career started.
Right.
Don't you agree?
Yeah, I'm still not paying 40 G's for that.
We've had this conversation before about who was it? Dr. J, right? Like, he has an NBA debut, but he played in the ABA, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
it's like I had an Otto Graham debut, and it was in the AAFL for the Browns, and then they merged with the NFL. It's kind of a little similar, even though it was the same team. This ticket's very rare. Two stubs. That's it.
Isn't there a full also?
There might be, but I don't know if it's been graded. But I think you're right. I think there is.
I know I've seen at least one full, but it was raw. But it's
But if you're a hockey guy, man, be a cool thing to own.
Yeah.
42. So underranked. Ali Frazier, fight of the century. I actually own one of these. What's one of the? I won't say one of the first ones I bought, but it was pretty early on, and it has the punch cancel, which we talked about on the show.
Send that to Matt.
Yeah, send it back. The NSNA with the hole punches. I believe it's just a comp ticket. There are different colors of this. Mine's the light brown. This one that's shown, I think, is the coolest looking one, the blue. If you read up or watch any documentaries, like, this was the it fight.
Yeah.
They call it the fight of the century for a reason. I had it at number 9. That's how high I have it.
Holy cow.
I have a stub. Mine's not nearly as cool as Mike's, but it's the blue.
Oh, you got the blue.
Yeah. But I have to tell you, this is considered to be, by a lot of people, the greatest boxing event in the history of boxing. Frank Sinatra was the guest photographer taking pictures for Life magazine at ringside. And the crazy thing about it is, Frazier won the fight. So, it's like I said, I had it at 20, and it's terrific. I wish I owned a full, but I'm thrilled to own one of these. This is great. I'm happy that it made the list. It probably, in my opinion, could have been a little bit higher just because of its place in history and its place in sports and boxing. But it's a good one.
Yeah, I think it suffered from being one of those secondary sports that aren't
Right.
as collected heavily in the collecting community.
It can't be a lot of fulls, Mike. No.
No, there's actually 10. There's 29 total. We have 19 stubs, 10 fulls. So kind of interesting. And I've kind of seen them trickle throughout the year, the fulls. 41. Oh, Fisk waves the ball. Fair. The baseball nerds have to just love this one.
Well, is it not one of the most repeated highlights in sports history? If you've seen
it's definitely
highlight
a great one, with the Red Sox logo, Game 6 at home. It's a super cool ticket.
I had it ranked at 78. One of the things that Fisk will do when he signs these tickets, and I would tell anyone, if you're going to send it in, because he's doing a signing right now, and there's a send in for it. He does these cool inscriptions with the World Series win and the stay fair. And
right.
You got to get it done that way. If you're going to get it done, just don't pay for the autograph. Get those inscriptions, because he takes pride in doing it. I think it's an awesome moment in sports. It's a cool ticket too. I mean, it's a World Series game. It's got the Red Sox logo. Have you ever thought about it though? It's a little weird. It's so memorable, but they lost the World Series in the next game.
It's a great example of the East Coast bias, where they just blow up and magnify anything that happens in New York or Boston. Because you're right, they lost the World Series, but for some reason this thing lives on forever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I had it at 45, which is pretty close to where it ended up. Definitely significant for all the reasons we talked about, but yeah, right in the middle of the pack. Great ticket. I don't own one. Not really a World Series guy, but it's definitely one of the all-time iconic World Series tickets.
Yeah, I guess I didn't give it as much respect. I had it at 78. Total tickets on these 113, 97 stubs, in 16 fulls. And I believe that is the end of our 41 through 60. We are still definitely going through the numbers on Instagram and Facebook at Top 100 Tickets. I think we're around 34 right now, moving along. It's really starting to
31.
Gear over 31 already. We're gearing up to I think once we get to the top 20, we really separate the cream from the crop.
It's getting there. It's getting there very fast. It's going to start being some really good tickets. So
I actually had a few people reach out to me and say, now it's really getting fun. Like now it's getting awesome, because everything that's announced kind of now, maybe other than today, we got a little bit of back from the debut.
We got to get out of these 30s. I feel like the 30s is still a little riff-raffy, but I think once we get in the top 25, that's where the true hardcore tickets come in. I
would agree. That's when it's going to get interesting. And I think that it's gaining popularity. A lot of people I'm getting a lot of feedback on it, and a lot of new followers on the account. So it's good.
Once again, at Top 100 Tickets on Instagram, and post if you guys want to follow it. And we post it on Booger Stubs also. Sean's in control. But every day it comes out around noon-ish, and it's a fun little thing to see every day.
And I got to just say, hats off to Sean. He's done a tremendous job with this. I mean, he really has. I mean, every day he gets it up. It looks great. He gets it on Boogers. He gets it on IG. He's dedicated. I mean, this would have gone nowhere without Sean. So kudos to Sean. I know
I appreciate it, Howard.
My idea, but no way. Sean worked really hard.
Sean just took the bull by the horns, and
he really has
ran with it.
I have to be honest with you guys. I wouldn't do it again.
And in 10 or 20 years, when it's all
maybe someday in the future. I'll have to forget how
much of a task
it is.
The rankings compare. Well, all right, guys, much appreciated. Howard, thanks for coming on. Sean, you're the man. Thanks for knocking it out every day. And once we get to the end of past 20, we'll probably come back on here and review, and then we'll go from there.
Outstanding.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Howard. Thanks, Sean.